Ah, another episode of Thoughts at Random. It's not always going to be about politics. For example, today's thought at random is about the cleavage that exists in my life between New Jersey and Ohio. I am a Jersey boy. On the other hand, my mother and her parents were from Ohio. And as fate would have it, I wound up moving to Ohio at the age of, approximately 30. And I discovered that it was a completely different culture. And I'm going to tell you like one little story, which has nothing to do with Ohio State, to whom I am still fanatically devoted, and to the comparatively small town, big city called Dayton, where I lived for, nigh on 7 years. And it was a subject of humiliation, really, because I had spent all of my youth screaming around the roads of South Jersey with radar detectors and very fast cars, and I never, ever got a ticket for speeding. And then one day, in Dayton, Ohio, coming out of its priciest suburb, I can't even remember why, I see the bubble lights in back. And admittedly, I'm in a small, black, snazzy sports car. And this guy comes up and he says, "You were doing 30 in a 25 mile per hour zone." And I said, "Sir, I'm sorry. I just got this car, and I'm not used to, it's speed indicators." And he said, "Sit there. I'll be right back." And he came back and he gave me a ticket. He gave me a ticket for speeding. So I had to pay this ticket for speeding. This is the first one I ever got in my whole life. And it speaks to a certain aspect of Ohio. They will give you tickets for like jaywalking. Well, I spent 3 years living in Harvard Square, where when you wanted to cross, you just walked into the middle of traffic and everybody had to stop. Well, no, unless they ran over you. But that was kind of the fun of it. But here in Ohio, it was all different. And I was amazed that they were so concerned about traffic safety, because the most fascinating thing I discovered about Ohio when I got there was that they didn't have car accidents like we had them in the Northeast. Where like people run into each other. In Ohio, the lead story would be either snowblowers, or it would be like a one-car accident off Route I-70. Somebody forgot where he was going and ran off the road. That was the end of it. I'll conclude with this one small vignette, which is that there came the day. I made the mistake of getting married out in Ohio to an Ohio girl, and we came east, and we had this SUV I had to buy because I was doing so much work for General Motors, and where I'm showing her Philadelphia, which is very different from Cleveland. It's like, what can you say? We're in South Philly, and the roads in Philly were set up from, back in colonial days, and they're narrow, right? And she likes to drive, so it's like, okay, you drive. And we were driving down the street on in a part of South Philly that's admittedly quite narrow. And she suddenly stopped the SUV, and she said, "I can't do this. You have to take over." And she got out. She stopped the car right in the middle of traffic and got out and walked around and got on the passenger seat, and I had to take over. She said, "Everything is too close." And I'm thinking of all these one-car accidents in Ohio. And I'm thinking back to, yes, I got a speeding ticket because I'm probably the most accomplished driver in that part of Ohio on that day, in that year. And by golly, I got a ticket.